There you go. Welcome all to this free Zoom session, and we're going to be covering a lot of psychic basics as well as doing a Q&A. And as I was just mentioning that when I went off to college, I didn't know what basics were, didn't know the basics, and a lot of people wouldn't admit if they didn't know the basics. And so what happens is with your development, you learn things at different levels all the time. So sometimes you might learn intermediate level, sometimes you might have an advanced level. You may have already been doing an advanced level all the time and didn't know. I mean, when I went to college, it was like, well, what are you, beginners, intermediate? Well, what do you measure yourself against? You don't want to measure yourself against someone else because everyone's different. Everyone's got different gifts. And if you do that, you are setting yourself up for failure, because it's like comparing a motor mechanic with an engineer or a doctor or a hairdresser. It just doesn't happen. So what happens is, imagine that your learning is like a pyramid. It's a very basic pyramid, by the way. And throughout your training or your development, or like most of us, you just stumble along and fall into something. You might learn something, that's a basic, and then you might learn something that's up in the intermediate area, and then you might learn something up in the advanced area. But guess what? You don't have a strong foundation there. There's nothing to help support you. And so you can make mistakes, you can get yourself in trouble, you can, lots of things can happen. So the basics are very much there to help you survive your journey. I just had a thought. Everyone here is part of the class. Maybe the others don't know how to use Zoom. But anyway, we'll see what happens. So basics are really, really important. But also there are many other things that aren't basics that come into that I would like you to know. So on that online course that I'm taking this first lesson from, or first part, I'm going to start right at the beginning so we can have a bit of fun with it, because I didn't know what the levels of all these other people are that are coming. So I thought, well, we'll just go straight into that. And who had my Psychic 101 course? Hands up if you did. Two of you. That's good. That's good. Okay, so you'll know in there is 5 lessons in it, but for those of you who already have it, we've added a heap of bonus content. So you not only get the 5 lessons, but you get week 1 of Everything Modern Oracle. So you guys might have been in week 1 from the August session. You get the PDFs for cards 1, 2, 3 and the daily guidance. You get 2 sessions of symbology basics. You get, what else is this here? A book reading. You get live replay of psychic journeys, and Bree's adding stuff all the time. So with any courses you have, we're always upgrading, adding, and just to keep giving you value. And so it's just keep checking in with your courses if you have got them, because then you will see that. But the first part we do is we talk about the stages of opening, and I want you to comment in the comments box, and if you've got something you want to know, just put your hand up. And it's very much a case of the common signs of opening are common coincidences and synchronicities. They're the first stage in stage 1, and these are all from stage 1. Seeing things out of the corner of your eye. You thought you saw something, but you don't know if you did, and you turn around and it's not there. Feeling a breeze or a presence, and I want you to count up how many of these you've got. Now, what happens is I'll go through 3 stages, and you might have a lot in stage 3 and only a few in stage 1, or you might have nothing from stage 2 and you've only got stage 3. You might have them all even. I know I don't have them all even at this level. A strong fascination for psychic or spiritual knowledge. Yes, I do have that. Receiving messages and dreams from friends or relatives who have died. Yes, I've got that. Dreaming events before they happen. My mother did that all the time. We used to hate getting those calls. Catherine, I've just had this dream, and your great uncle's going to die, or this person. She could actually get told when someone was going to go. So I've asked not to see that. seeing those who are no longer alive, hearing things repeated over and over in your mind, not in relation to mental health. It's just intuitive stuff, right? No kill him, or anything like that. People want to tell you their life history and things they've rarely told others, even if they don't know you very well. Who has that happen? Yeah, it's like there's a big sign on your head, you know, you're locked in a queue and all of a sudden the person beside you starts talking to you and they tell you everything and you didn't want to know that and you don't even know them. It happens quite a lot. And my husband, when I go back to him, he says, they just told you their life story, didn't they? And I said, yeah, just as well the line wasn't too long. But it happens. And, you know, it's just part of what we are and who we are. Knowing people well when you've only met them for a short time, that happens a lot too. It's like your soul recognizes their soul. You know, you just hit it off straight away. Strong feelings regarding the health of others only to find out that you were correct. Now, sensitivity to noise. I wear earplugs at Zumba. The music is too loud. No one else is wearing them, but I bought these special ones from the UK that filter out the harmful vibrations. So I can still hear all the music, but it's not hurting my ears. Sensitivity to the moods of others. All you empaths and clairsentient people will have that. Sudden and strong desire to clean up your health and eating habits. Believe me, that doesn't last forever. Fascination with angels and fairies. I can't say I ever had that, but a lot of people do. Being inexplicably very drawn towards the colour lilac, pink or white. Rubbing your forehead often and wanting to get hair away from your face. A strange pulling sensation across the forehead, so the third eye stretching, and wanting to save others and the planet. So they're all the, you know, the things that happen, but there's downsides as well. For, you know, it's like a pendulum. For all the good, there is the not so good. And the downsides for stage 1 opening is, get this one, increased irritability. Yeah, don't bother me right now. You're annoying. Intolerance, where previously you've been very tolerant. You're on a mission. You know, you just don't have time for the Fruit Loops in the world. Willingness to speak up when previously you have kept quiet. So you're not going to hide in the closet anymore about your spirituality just because it might offend someone. And you're temporarily unreliable. And the reason you're unreliable is because you're off in another world where there is no time. So you forget time. I think that's what's happened with a lot of the people that were coming here today. They became temporarily unreliable. They're all common patterns that happen in stage 1 that provide a grounding basis from which to work. You may experience stage 1 for some time before you decide to investigate and move forward. So hands up if you had any of those ones. Yeah? Yeah, I can see that. And, you know, there's always a struggle with the ego and your gut feeling. So you won't always believe the hints that you get or the feelings you get. You go, no, surely not, that can't be right. And sometimes you're wrong, so you just assume every other time you're going to be wrong, and nobody wants to hear after the fact, oh, I knew that. Well, why didn't you say something if you knew that? Well, you're not going to in case you're wrong. And that's what happens in stage 1. And also there's an increase in activity in spirit that will not go away and will only increase as you get older. So, and if you think about it, as you get older, there's more people in spirit to annoy you as well, because you meet more people that you know have had their time on earth and they've then moved on. Now, stage 2, common signs continued. Again, put your hand up at the end if you think that you've had any of these. Now, the first one I'm not that keen on. The Messiah complex, or feeling you are the chosen one, so to speak, and your healing technique or choices are better than others. This is often a temporary phase and a reaction to an increased energy flow. So what happens with this one is you only will do your healing technique and you're not open to learning others, and your way is the only way, the best way, there's nothing else. You feel less connected to prior friendships, relationships, and family dynamics. And this can feel as though your friends are disappearing from your life and you have little in common with them. You've changed. And again, this is temporary and a reaction to the energy shifts. Now, again, there's downside to stage 2 opening, wanting to shout from the rooftops about your profound experiences and need to choose carefully who you share these with. Not everyone believes and not everyone wants to know. Wanting to fix everyone. Belief that their method of healing and development is the only route rather than a route, and intolerance where previously you've been tolerant. Now, that Messiah complex we spoke about, it can be alarming because it, to them, it feels like the second coming. And it comes in with a lot of strong psychic skills. So that's where they go a bit skew-if. Now, anyone have stage 2? Anything from stage 2? No? Yes? Yeah, I've got 1 or 2. Not that Messiah one. Stage 3 opening, strong connection to intuition and instinct, trust of intuition and instinct, a growing sense of fearlessness. You'll do anything you want, even if you're scared. Strong commitment to self-growth, and whatever the consequences, you don't mind. Disappearance of addictive traits such as alcohol and smoking. I meet so many spiritual people that give up alcohol. And I know from my experience, I'm so sensitive now, 2 drinks and I'm off with the fairies. 3 drinks, not good. And after 3 drinks, the minute I stop, I get a hangover straight away. Everything's on speed, express. There is no slow. So that's really unsettling. But I'm not against drinking, and I'll have a drink to celebrate if I'm out, but it's not something I seek to do. Strong self-discipline, I'm waiting for that one. Emergence of committed and strong relationships in life and speaking the truth kindly. Feeling a jarring in energy field if unkind words are spoken. Increased feeling of neutrality where strong feelings have been present previously. So in cases of hostility, fear, or mistrust, they're not there anymore. And seeing people for who they are and not expecting them to change to suit your needs. That happens a lot with families. You grow in one direction and they stay where they are. And so you sort of become a different person when you're around them because they're not interested in what you're doing, or they don't believe in it, or they think you've gone crazy. Now, willing and able to leave situations that no longer work for you, so you don't cop crap anymore. Dissolving of abandonment fears, comfortable in your own company, not fearful of people leaving you. So if people choose not to be with you anymore, it doesn't worry you. You may prefer being alone because it's less trouble if you're alone on your own. And I know I've gotten very much like that. It's so easy to be in my little bubble, just working and creating, and then someone says, oh, we're going out, and I go, really? We've got to go out now? Don't really want to do it. Dissolving of abandonment fears. Where am I? Strong sensitivity to energy fields of others. Clear and accurate interpretations of the emotional states of others, free of judgment and fear. Consistency in emotional levels, no extreme highs or lows. People comment on how everything goes your way. You're considered lucky. And the reason things seem like they're going your way is you have an inner knowing. So you're not going to take on the stuff that's not going to go your way. You don't waste your time. I was on a trip with my best friend and her partner and my husband. And what happened was we pulled up at this place and they said, well, we're all going here. And I said, well, I'm just going to wait in the car. And they said, well, why are you waiting in the car? I said, it's not open. Oh, but there's all these cars here. I said, no, it's not open. I'm not getting out. So I opened up a magazine and I just sat there, and they thought I was odd. 5 minutes later, they came back and they said, it's not open. And I went, oh, that's good. And off we drove. Now, that's what I mean. You'll have situations like that where you'll just go, I'm just not going to do it. So, yeah, Then we have considered lucky, considered wise, great trust in the process, easily able to let go of things, people, feelings, and situations, especially negative ones. And we learn from life challenges, easily able to drop resentments. I'm working on that one. They still hang around, and we're supposed to forgive everything, but it depends on how big the issue is as to how quick you give up. But I'm human, and I'm declaring it because I am human. And so you don't beat yourself up about that. Able to spot and willing to change negative thought patterns. Strong, improved self-image. No longer need to save others, but make a significant contribution to the development of others. You don't need to shout about it. Make a conscious effort to prolong and enhance the life of the planet by contributing to energy-saving methods, but no longer need to save it single-handedly. My thing with the koalas, I was thrilled last night when they said how many millions they've raised to save the koalas. And I got this email the other day from the government, and I thought, what are they wanting? And it was to say about the land that I was protesting about, it being in New South Wales, keeping the forest there. And that's something I wouldn't have done 10 years ago. No fear of darkness, awareness that it's simply a lack of light. Terrific insight into the unconscious motivations of others requiring little effort. And drive is for the continued self-expression rather than to prove anything. Now, downsides are you can be seen as cold and uncaring. The people around you might not like that you don't react to or acknowledge their attempts to manipulate you. When you display a lack of guilt, others find it difficult to incite a sense of duty from you and may become hostile towards you because of it. The above is all due to having lost your sense of ego and operating from a confident place within the self. And the above common patterns that happen in stage 3, they're just observations. You may experience some and you may not. Downside, those in stage 3 opening are showing very visible evidence of positive changes. And for most, these negative side effects settle down once you acknowledge them. But the main downside are that people are not accepting. You've gone so far ahead, you've left them too far behind. And it becomes very hard for them to accept your new beliefs, because the further you get into it, the more your beliefs can seem bizarre. And the more the gap is between them, unless you bring them along for the journey. So, and that's a big one. How'd you go with that? You could see a lot of things that you're telling you that you're well into this journey and having things happen. Yeah. Now, I say there's psychic rules. Whether you follow them is up to you or not, but this is what helps protect you. So there's do's and there's don'ts, and I tend to follow them. Do practice on willing friends and family. Willing is the key word. Now, why? Because if you start giving them readings, it's like going through their underwear drawer. They haven't asked for it, and you're looking into them. When I go to a party, if someone says, oh, Katie's a psychic or a medium, the first thing someone says is, oh, can you see my grandmother? Is she here? And the next thing is all the cheating husbands or spouses all disappear because they think I can see that they're playing up. I'm not even looking because the rules are don't look, but it's pretty obvious when they take off. Set boundaries and stick to them. You will have friends that'll ring up and they've got a need for you to help them out with advice or to give them something. And, you know, that makes it really hard for you because you don't want to become an ATM. Let go of fear and have a go. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Those of you who are in my Thursday night development group, the Everything Modern Oracle, you know how I push you that bit, and this is why you've grown so much. Always ground and protect yourself. Meditate as much as you can. Even 5 minutes is better than nothing. What you're doing is you're checking in. Follow your intuition and trust. Do detach yourself. You don't want people relying on you to live their lives. And we have someone in our Everything Modern Oracle group, who is a professional reader, and she's got people coming to her every day and they're wanting her to make their decisions for her. So guess what happens? When they do something which makes the decision not happen, they want to blame her rather than take responsibility themselves. Work with integrity at all times. Stay grounded. Exercise, eat a meal, be human, hug a tree, be physical. I have to do that because if I don't after a day of reading, I blow the lights. I blow anything electrical that's happening. The switch will go off in the switchboard and then we've got to go out there and turn it on again. So it's just that energy. And you don't have to prove your gifts to anyone. Have you ever been to a doctor and said, you better prove that you're a doctor? Or do you go to your hairdresser and say, I want to see references for how good you cut hair and how many mistakes have you made? No, no one does that. Whereas sometimes you'll get that smart person that'll go, oh, if you're a psychic, prove it. Can you find my lost tooth? Can you heal this person? Can you tell me what's going to happen tomorrow? All those things that we don't need to do to prove. No one else has to prove themselves. Don't read for anyone without their permission. It's like going through their underwear drawer and looking for stuff. You wouldn't like it if you're talking to someone and they're checking you out and finding out all your secrets. It's quite creepy, but you wouldn't want to be around them anymore. Don't become a party trick. Once you become a party trick, it'll be expected. They'll invite you just so you can be a psychic at their party. And it gets old pretty quick. But also, don't mix your spirits. So mixing your spirits, you don't drink if you're doing mediumship because your inhibitions are lower and you don't have the boundaries. And so you will say things that you possibly shouldn't say. You are not a psychic ATM. People can't keep coming to you for withdrawals. Phone call, answer it. Oh, should I buy the blue car or the red car? Next day. Should I get my loan from Westpac or Commonwealth? Next day. Do you think this other car is better? Next day. Do you think my husband's going to leave me? Next day. Is my son doing drugs? It goes on and on and on. And guess what happens? There's no balance of energy. You're giving out all the time and nothing is coming back. So there has to be an exchange of energy. Don't expect to be right all the time. Only God is, and people have free will. So you can guide them, and whether they take your guidance or not is up to them. But if something looks negative and they're on this path and you help them with guidance to get on that path, if they don't take it, obviously it's going to set off a series of incidences which will lead them on a different path again. We don't deliver bad or upsetting news. You can't say you're going to die. I had a guy see me in Expo, and I'm not sure if I've told some of you this story, but he'd had his palm read in what I call where all the psychics are. I call it the reader's pit because they're all in there together. And, they work for hardly anything. They're just trying to get experience. But this particular psychic read his palm and told him he was going to die at 47. And he saw me reading palms and he was watching me, and I was booked with like 5 minutes in between each one. And anyway, in between clients, he came over and he said, can you read palms? And I said, yes. And he said, can you tell me if I'm going to die at 47? I said, no, you're not. He says, well, look at my palm. This lady up here, she's supposed to be really good. She's told me I'm going to die at 47. And I looked at his palm. I said, you are not dying at 47. I said, anyway, you're 47 now. He says, how'd you know that? I said, well, this is what I do. And he went, oh. He says, can I get a reading from you then? I said, sure, go and book in. 12 months later, I'm at the same expo and he comes and he says, I'm still here. You were right. I didn't die. I'm 48 now. And Tian was with me and she just cracked up. She lost it because she remembered him. And it was very much a case of I gave him relief, you know. But I even went to one in Maryborough when I first moved to this area, and I went in. It was quite dark in there. There was a lot of dark things in this place. But sat down to have a reading with her, and she told me my husband was having affairs, that there was all these negative things, right? And I listened and listened and listened, and I thought, I was getting distressed. I thought, this is just not right. Anyway, I looked at her, and I looked over her shoulder, and I looked back. I said, your husband's having an affair, isn't he? And she said, yes. And everything she told me was hers. It was her reading. And she was picking up that energy and delivering it to me. But I left with this doubt, thinking, you know, something's wrong here. You know, what if he is, and all the rest? So I went to someone that was mentoring me and paid to see her to get that stuff cleaned up. And she said, it's a load of rot. And I said, yeah, I know it's a load of rot, but it stayed with me. I even went to one in Hong Kong because, you know, when you go overseas, you want to experience different ones. Well, I've learned that there's different levels in different countries. Just because they're there doesn't mean they're good. And this guy, he had newspapers all over his window telling everyone that he'd been on TV, been on the radio, he's the best psychic in the world, right? And so I paid for him. But what happens I notice in Hong Kong, possibly a lot of China, because I've seen several now, they like to tell you negative stuff. And it gets the clients scared and coming back all the time. So he told me one of my children was going to die. And that freaked me out because they were back in Australia and I was here in Hong Kong. And I just went back to the room and I meditated and I just connected and communicated and found that, no, it's not going to happen. And it didn't happen. You know, 20 years later, they're both still here, thank God. But can you imagine how unsettling that is and how horrible that is? And so you don't want to be that person. And, you know, it's I've even had it happen at the college, and one of the tutors actually fixed it up, but she was new and I was in intermediate, and she was a high court judge in the Netherlands. And she was dressed up really good and she got the tarot card and the death card came out and she said, your son's going to die next year. And I went, what? And I'm thinking, she's at this college, she must be good. And I was just freaked out by it. And I went to the tutor, who is like one of the best there. And she said, no, it's not going to happen. That is not what the death card means. I said, yeah, I know that's not what the death card means, but she says she's a good psychic. And so obviously maybe this is going to happen. And she goes, no, it's not. And so again, that is how much damage you can do by being negative. I've got a couple of people that just keep coming in and out. You're probably seeing them. Just ignore them. I don't know what it is, but maybe they've got storms where they are. Don't compare your gifts to anyone else's because you're all different. And don't be a psychic sponge. A psychic sponge is someone that absorbs everyone else's problems, mops them up. You know, when you wipe the bench down because there's, you know, water there. What is water? Emotions. So don't hold it all in. Get rid of it. Wring the sponge out. And don't be judgmental. We're all on a different path. We're all got different things happening. We're all just trying to do the best that we can, and we all do make mistakes. If you can think of any other, you know, issues that you would like to add as a boundary, do you want to just put your hand up and we'll share them? Is there anyone that has something that they think, you know, maybe? No? Good. I always get nothing to that question. Just one day there might be something I haven't covered, and it'd be nice to know if I do, you know, find that. So The next thing you should do is keep a psychic journal. It is really, really important to keep a psychic journal. And the reason you want to keep a psychic journal is you want to be able to see how far you've come. And most of you are in my Thursday night class, and you know I encourage you to keep a journal. But what you want to be journaling is you want to be journaling your dreams. You want to be journaling any synchronicities, anything special that happens. If you have a feeling about something, journal it. If you get it right, show someone, say, hey, look how good I am. I got this right. You get it wrong, just don't mention it, because you're still learning and you might have just misinterpreted it. But what happens is sometimes you might get to a stage where you do misinterpret something and you might feel like you're not a psychic anything, right? And so you get a bit upset. But going back to that journal, you can see all the positives and all the good things you've done and all the, when you have been right. And so it doesn't become such a hard thing for you. And so keeping a psychic journal is really, really important. And I journal everything, and especially when I'm at college, and that's how I put the lessons together from everything that I learned. But also my book, when it came to my book, I could go back and there were all the experiences and the details. At the back of your psychic journal, I say keep your psychic dictionary. So when you learn any symbolisms or anything that is symbolic to you, like what you think a butterfly means, whether it's fragile, freedom, or transformation or transition, what you think when you see a white owl, what does it mean if you see 3 ducks? You write all those things in the back, and they will then, by doing that, you're telling the spirit world, when you show me this, this is what it means. And that's what happens with the tarot. You have cards, they have energy, and the more you use them, you're learning to communicate, and the spirit world knows, okay, we've got to tell her this, let's throw this card out. She needs to know this, let's throw this card out. And so by having all your symbols at the back and how you do it, you don't even need to look at them again because you already know. But by writing them down, you plant them in your subconscious, and you're working out how you are communicating with the spirit world, how your guides and angels are talking to you. Who's got a psychic diary already or journal? Yeah. Okay, a few of you, that's good. And the rest of you just going to start it, I suppose. Exercise book. Oh my gosh, there's some beautiful journals out there. Really, really nice ones. I've got a whole shelf full of journals because people keep giving them to me. But now I'm on the laptop and I do this thing where I start them and then I just forget to finish them. I've got one on my my desk. It's been here for 5 years, and it's called One Line a Day, 5-year memoir book. Well, unfortunately, I do one line every 6 months. The book's here for me to look at, but I never think to go to it. But I do write in my psychic journal. Now I wish I had written in that book so I could see things that happened on certain days and look back and go, oh, that's when John got his car license. I wouldn't write, that the dog had a bowel movement or anything like that. It's significant things or special things. Oh, I got to have afternoon tea with a special friend last week. That sort of stuff you would put in there. Now, that's all about the psychic journal. Who knows how to clear their energy? No? Okay. Clearing energy, psychic protection, I say they're basic, they're easy. You can go into a bookshop and buy a book this thick on psychic protection. And bottom line is you can do it in 1 minute. People like to complicate things. And the reason they complicate things is how are you going to put a book out with 1 page? So they will put a lot of stories about psychic protection, and it's good entertainment. And some people find things better that way. I know I learn better by doing things rather than just being told. So I'm going to ask you all now to close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. and you're going to do a clearing. And I want you to imagine that you're under a waterfall of white light. You're connected to your guides, and you say, please clear my mind. Say it in your head or out loud. I can't hear you. Please clear my mind. Please clear my body. Please clear my body. Please clear me psychically, energetically. Please clear me psychically, energetically. Please cut any negative ties to me. Please cut any negative ties. Amen, and so it is. You can open your eyes. It's an intention. You tell them what you want to be cleared. Okay? That is how you clear. I do it in the shower. I have 2 a day, morning and evening. Cleaning everything else, going to clean that. Sometimes we forget to protect ourselves. So then we need to clear. What are we clearing? Oh, those problems everyone told you when you were in the line at Woolworths, the negative attachments. You've been working all day connecting to people. As my husband says, don't bring your work home. I want to clear that energy off. So they're the things that you clear. Now, psychic protection, that is easy too. Again, it's intention. Do you want to do it? Hands up if you want to do psychic protection. Yeah, 2, 3. Oh, you all do. Good. I can't see 2 of you. The number and hello. It's good to see you. Okay, so now what I want you to do is close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths.
Yeah.
And what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that you have a protective, reflective, mirrored bubble around you. And it reflects all negativity. And a golden sphere of light that's spinning around you that protects you. And this bubble only allows positivity in and reflects any negativity. And you ask for protection. Please protect me. Physically, mentally, spiritually, energetically. Amen, and so it is. That's it. Just put yourself in a bubble and intend that nothing negative can come to you or get to you. Okay? So people say, how often should I do that? Well, how often do you have a shower? You know, how often do you wash your car? You need to do it as often as you feel, but I always do it before I do any work. When I'm doing my meditation, I put a bubble around myself to protect me. Okay? And that helps. That is how easy it is to protect yourself. And when my children are driving home after visiting me, I put a bubble around them, white light bubble, and I put a white light bubble around the cars and ask for them to have a safe journey. But another thing I do, this is separate to the protection. I have a wishing jar, and in the wishing jar, I put a gold coin in whenever I want to make a wish. So I'll get a gold coin and I'll put in and I'll say, please allow my Chloe and Sam to have a safe journey home and arrive home safely. If they're coming to me, please allow them to come to me safely. If I'm going on a journey, please make it a good journey. And then at the end of the year, it's full of gold coins. It's full of good wishes because you're only wishing for good stuff, and you put all that good energy into that wishing jar with all those gold coins, and the gold coins are helping to manifest it. And sometimes you might ask for something, but it doesn't happen. And that is because it is not part of the journey you've asked for. So I asked for a debt not to be as big as it is, but it's big. And I asked for someone not to bother me, and they did. But those things were meant to happen. But isn't it better to give it a go and want to wish the best for someone. I have a client that's terminal at the moment. I put a gold coin in to ask that she be healed as much as she can be and not be in so much pain. Now, again, I'm putting good intentions in there, good wishes to help people. Then my husband goes, what are you going to do with all those gold coins? And I said, well, we'll do something for them. And generally, I've been saving up to do the book. So I did the book. And each year I start another one. And $2 coins add up to a lot more than $1 coins. So I'd be using $2 coins if I was you. They're really good. Another neat idea is you get a jar, and each day you write something significant that happened on a piece of paper and you put it in the jar. And then on New Year's Eve or something like that, you open them up and you look at all the things that happened during the year, you know, that you'd forgotten about. You might want to put, oh, I got a new fridge, but not so much that. It might have been you got a surprise or someone came to visit you, or it's gratitude. And what you're starting off with is, I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for that. So you have an attitude of gratitude in this container that's holding all these good things. And what you're doing is you're putting all this positive energy into your home and gold coins. So it's really good. And it's so cute. And you might even put your feelings like, I'm so grateful for this, and I was so excited when it happened. And sometimes I'll just put in, I love Tony. Just drop it in. And then it comes out New Year's Eve. And you say, well, you weren't feeling that way this morning when I did that certain thing, when I, you know, dug a hole in the wrong place or whatever. And I say, yes, but I'm over it now. There's the proof. And it's just a lovely thing to do. I love John, and John's there and it comes out. You know, it's so we're creating good energy everywhere. It's the same with crystals. Program your crystals to give you good energy where you are, and meditate in your space for you to have good energy, and clear your space, just like you clear your space. You all know that the Psychic Enhancer oil has all the essential oils in to help you connect. But also, it's the trigger. You smell it, it goes into you, that tells you you're ready to connect. And that happens when you clear your space as well. You clear the space of the energy so that you can feel lighter and work better. If I have a big day of readings, I'd go to the ocean and I clear the energy down there as well. It just makes me feel good, breathing in all the sea. So that's really good. Now, what we've done is we've done a fair bit of lesson 1 in the Psychic Development 101. And the reason it wasn't there is because we added all this extra content, but everyone on this session is able to get it for 20% off. Anyone that reads the newsletter can get it for 15% off. And anyone that just sees it on social media for the launch on Monday will get 10% off. So you guys that turned up get 20% off. Really good thing. So I will put that code in the comments for you, if I can find it. And if you want to get the rest of the course, you can. But what I want to do now is I want to open it up to questions, and any questions you have about anything we did, because often what happens is people forget something, or they didn't hear it because they were writing something else and they just want to know what's going on, or they missed a bit. So I'm open to all of that. If you want to come off mute or raise your hand so you can do it one at a time, and we'll just go from there. So anyone want a question? Got anything you want to ask? Anything I can help you with? Karen.
Oh, sorry. I just missed the words to the clearing the energy because I was doing it instead of writing.
That's okay. Please clear my mind, clear my mind. Please clear my body, clear my body. Please clear me psychically. Please clear any negative ties or any negative energy. You're setting the intention, you're asking for what you want. And then you finish it with amen, and so it is.
Thank you.
So, Joyce, you had a question? Now, anyone else can't hear Joyce? No? Joyce, we can't hear you, darling.
Sorry, I had the headphones in. I got interrupted right at the beginning, and I missed the you were doing a triangle with 3 squares in.
Okay, so what the triangle is, imagine your journey is like a pyramid, and you might learn how to clear yourself, which is down here. You might learn how to do mediumship, which is up here, and you might learn something else, but you don't know how to protect yourself. So you're allowing all that energy in. You don't know how the rules so that you don't make a mistake. You know, don't look at other people's stuff. You might be that person that answers every call and answers everyone, you know, and so eventually you wear down and your energy goes down. So what we covered today were a lot of ways to protect yourself psychically. And this pyramid, if you don't have a good foundation, it falls down. Yeah. It caves in. Game over. You know, so you're wanting to have a really good foundation for that to work. And if you don't, well, then you will have issues. And so that's why I teach these basics, is to help you out with that. Who else has got a question? Here we go. I've got the, I think I've got the code. No, I'm still looking for the code. Yeah, who else has got a question? Yes, Donna.
I was just wondering, like with the stages,
Yes.
like for the first stage, I've got 13, and for the stage 3, I've got 12, but stage 2, I only got 2.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
Well, what it means is you don't have to get all stage 1 and 2. You want to get to stage 3, but some people come in at stage 3 and don't even know a thing about fairies and angels and don't even care. They just want to do things. But what the stages do is tell you that you're on the way. And the ones in stage 1 are the easier ones, the ones most people will have. By the time you get to stage 3, you should be working. And as you said, you've got 12 in stage 3. You will never have all of them. No one does. I certainly don't. Yeah, I'm lucky if I remember a dream. I'm lucky if I sleep, let alone remember a dream. But you know what I mean? You're not going to have all of them, and you don't want them, and you certainly don't want the negatives. But we do. Some of us do go through the negatives because we don't know the basics. Joyce.
What's the difference between discovering the modern oracle deck and the 101? So
okay,
I get 101.
Discovering the modern oracle of essential oils is all about the essential oil deck. Okay, and it's a great course. It's got a whole, with each course, to do with the oracle cards, I create a spread, and so that you can do it with those cards. But with the Discovering the Modern Oracle of Essential Oils course, you learn how to use those cards 7 ways. That was the second deck I did, and I put in everything that people kept saying, oh, but you haven't got this in the first deck and you haven't got that in the first deck. So if you are someone that's into colour, you're going to work with the colour and the auras of the cards. If you're someone that's into essential oils, and you want to sell essential oils, you're going to be using that baby, because my sister takes them to markets and she says, which essential oil will benefit you the most? They pull a card and then they go and buy the oil because the cards told them.
Yeah.
It also has numerology. And then the Psychic Development 101, what it does is it's now called How to Unlock Your Psychic Abilities in 30 Days. You just did lesson 1
Oh,
in
okay.
less than an hour, right? And
Yeah.
you know, in lesson 2, because I took you into part of that, you learned to clear energy, psychic protection, how to ground yourself. I do a trust and self-belief exercise with you so that you can get through that. Daily spiritual habits, things that you should and can do. You get the rainbow connection meditation, which is the one I use before every reading. Not every reading, every day of readings at the beginning. There's a mystery crystal exercise I'll take you through. Everything has a video, everything has a PDF, and everything has exercises. We cover vision, fear, and ego, how you can tell what's a vision, what's fear, and what's the ego. Getting your own personal empowerment symbol. Opening up your psychic abilities, that comes up in lesson 4, and learning to receive information and communication. Lesson 5, connecting to another psychically, reading from a photograph, and communicating with the other side. And then you've got all that bonus content that I'm not sure if you heard, but I threw in the recording from week 1 of Everything Modern Oracle in August. You've got the PDFs that I give Everything Modern Oracle, but you've got the 2 sessions of symbolic basics that I did live. And that's more than 3 hours of content about symbolism. You get, what else is there? She threw the book reading in I did on signs and synchronicities because we did symbology, and you get the live replay of Psychic Journeys where I'm teaching you about psychic journeys. And who knows what else she's going to put in. She's a crazy woman. But she's just saying, this isn't being used, so we're just going to put it in there. And I go, okay. But yeah, so we vamped it up and we changed a few videos and we added a ton of more stuff. And if you already own this course, you've got all that. It's you keep getting the upgrades, you keep getting, and you've got it for life, and you can do it as many times as you want. But rather than me teach that, because I used to do it one-on-one with everyone, and then it was like Groundhog Day, doing the same lesson over and over and over again when I'm doing reading. And so I put it all into a course. Okay. And so, yeah, you will, it's a good thing to do. Now, I'm just looking for that. She gave me the codes, and I will be in much trouble if I don't find them. But anyway, before we go today, I will give you the codes to the course, 20% off. Also, I'll take your names down and make sure that I get an email it to you if I don't find it in the thing. So we've got Lorraine here. We've got Joyce. We've got Karen. Karen Cunningham, is it? I'm not sure. We've got Robin. We've got Sian. We've got Donna, Lorraine. We've got Brendan. 2, 4, 6, 7. I've missed someone. 685246. What would your name be? Are you there? How do I?
The photo's frozen, I think.
Yeah, at least it's a good
on
photo.
mute.
At least
she's on mute.
She's on mute as well. Okay. Ask to unmute if she's there. And let's see if we can find out. No, she's disappeared now.
Oh, she's gone.
Okay. So the other Karen that's there, is that Karen Olsen? Put in the chat
box. It just says Karen.
Just says Karen, I know. So I can't get the code to her without that. So 2, 5, 6, 7. Yep, I've got you all ticked off, and I can get the code to you as soon as I find it, or as soon as Bree gives it to me. But yes,
it's Karen Olsen.
It could be Karen Olsen. Yeah.
Yes, she put it in the chat.
Oh, it is. Okay, Karen, I will make sure that you get the code as well. So, yeah. Now, Karen to everyone, which Karen is it? Karen Olsen or Karen? No, it'd be Karen Olsen. What about dreams? Do you ever have your dreams come true, or do you ever experience something and then feel like it has happened in a dream you've had. Could be a dream from years ago that stuck with you. As I said, my mother dreams all the time, Karen, and her dreams, not every one of them would come true, but she'd dream the winner of the Melbourne Cup sometimes. And I'll tell you honestly, I looked into it, and the reason she dreamed was she never stopped and she never meditated. She didn't sit still long enough to communicate with her guides. So they couldn't get through to her. And so they would go to her in her dreams. Her mother always went to her in her dreams. When my father was killed in a car accident when I was 15 months old, my mother was in hospital giving birth to my sister, and her mother came to her and told her that my dad had died or had been in a car accident. And she started screaming, and the nurse came and said, "What's wrong?" And she said, my husband, something's happened to him. He's been in an accident. She says, "No, I think you're delusional. Nothing's happened. We'd know if something's happened." An hour later, they came and told her that he'd been in a car accident. And her mother even said he was going to die, and he did. He stayed alive for a little while, and then he died. So those dreams, it depends on you. Dreams from the past, dreams generally are your fears, what you're frightened of. I'm frightened of snakes, but if I dream of a snake, I know it's someone's going to betray me. And then I look who else was in that dream. But generally, that's what happens. I had a lady come over from England, and she was a psychic. And I used to sponsor psychics from overseas, and I'd give them all my client base and get all these people coming to my office, and I'd spend weeks setting up the appointments with my phone and host her and all the rest of it. Anyway, this woman was even going to stay with me, and I'd never ever met her, but someone in Gympie that knew her asked if I would put her up, and I did. And I said I would. Well, she turned out to be a nightmare. But before she arrived, Mum was here, and a snake came out and sat on the table. And Mum says, "Oh," and she saw it. And I said, "You saw it first, Mum, so it's yours, not mine." And there was the snake. And what it was that woman betrayed many people that day. She was a nightmare. And she turned up to the spiritual church with a midriff top on, and she was in her late 50s. And she asked if anyone wanted, she's told everyone in her speech that she was looking for a husband because she wanted to stay in Australia. And so that was just like the most bizarre thing, but a snake turned up. And if you read my book, The House That Flooded, the snake wrapped around the handle on the door. So we didn't go in and buy that house. So symbolism comes into dreams. It's your subconscious trying to talk to you. And if you don't take time to meditate and communicate, they will come to you in your dreams, because they go, "Well, nothing's going to interrupt us. We can have a bit of a chat now." And if you want to remember your dreams, you need to ask to remember them, and have a pen and paper and write them down as soon as you open your eyes. Otherwise, they're gone. It's as quickly as that. And sometimes deja vu is one of two things. It's a remembered dream, or it's the sign that you're on the right path. You planned this journey before you came here. And it's deja vu feeling because you're now enacting it. When you've met someone you think you know them, you have that bond where you just know them straight away. You've had other lives together. And what you will find is they're meant to be in your life. You'll find there'll be dates in common, there will be people in common, there will be all those sorts of things. And the teacher that I liked the most over at the college, I didn't find out until the second time I went over there for one of his courses. His birthday was on the same day as my dad's. And when I first saw him, the first time I looked at him, I thought, I wonder if that's what my dad would look like if he lived to be that age. Just felt like I knew him, and I thought that. And then when I found out his birthday was on the same day, I went, he was meant to be my teacher. And he got the best out of me too, because he pushed and he gave me all the opportunities. So you will find that those synchronicities happen because you're on your path. You're meant to meet that person. It's meant to be what is happening. Does that all make sense? Yeah. Any questions I hope I answered that for you, Karen. Anyone else? You can come off mute, Karen, and talk to me if you want to. Sandy Norman's coming in now and she's missed it. Yeah, so that's what happens with that. And it's a good thing to feel the synchronicities and the signs. So looking, you know, at why things are happening and how they're affecting you. So that's good. Oh, you're Sandy Norman. Okay. Sandy, it's good to see your name and it's good to have you here. Did you have any questions about today? You're off mute now. No questions. Okay. So if you don't have any questions, I will let you all be. I just want to have one more look to see if I can find that code for you before I get in trouble. And it's such an easy code. I'm just trying to think what it was. And I thought, that's just so obvious, that code. And then I lost the paper.
It's not unlock 20, is it?
It is.
Oh, there you go.
How did you know that?
Because I wrote it down on Thursday night.
There you go. And I've put it away with Thursday night stuff. Unlock 20 if you want 10. Thank you, Lorraine.
You're welcome.
It doesn't matter if it's capitals or lowercase, but it all must be in one word. Don't put any gaps in or it won't work. Okay, unlock 20. Karen Cunningham, any questions?
Oh, I signed up for the VIP course yesterday.
Yes.
So should I have done this one instead?
No,
You're talking
the
about?
VIP course is the cheaper way to do everything Modern Oracle.
Oh, great.
Because you've got in the VIP course, you get an hour with me.
Yeah,
By
that's
the
what I
time you
wanted.
applied that discount, you're getting me for something like $60 or something on top of the course.
Mm.
You get an hour with me where you get to ask anything about that course and you get one-on-one tutoring. So it's good to buy the VIP part. But Mastering the Modern Oracle goes into a lot more detail with the cards. You go into so much detail and every card has anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes video on it, going through everything and putting it into context like I'm doing every Thursday night.
Yeah.
By the time we go through the whole deck, that's a lot of Thursday nights. But we also do a lot of other stuff that's not in Mastering the Modern Oracle because it's not about the Modern Oracle, the stuff we're doing, some of it. And you do get a meditation in Mastering the Modern Oracle, but you don't get all the ones we do each week because we're doing a lot of them. So there's, you know, you've got all the PDFs, you've got all the notes. You don't have to take notes if you've got Mastering the Modern Oracle because it's all in there. Yeah, so they're different courses. Introduction to the Modern Oracle is very much the first stage when you're looking at Modern Oracle. It's got a fabulous card spread in there. It's called the Modern Oracle spread, and I invented it to go with the deck. And it does cover, and you know it does cover all the areas that, you know, the 6 areas in the deck. Brendan, you've been quiet. You got any questions? No? Robin? No? Okay, so it's Sandy coming back in. I'm not sure why people are dropping out and where everyone else went, but they hope they're not going to do a different time zone and turn up and I'm not here. But anyway, if you don't have any questions, I'm going to say, how long is the 20% effective for? I think she's just doing it on, it might be a week or it might be just Monday. You're going to get tomorrow's email will tell you. Sunday's, you know how you all get my weekly email? Yeah. It'll tell you. But it'll say 15%. They'll have the 15% code. You use your unlock 20. That code's going to be unlock 15. You'd be a fool if you use that code instead of the unlock 20. So, yeah. So I would do that. If you have any problems, because you're my, you know, Everything Modern Oracle guys, contact me if you miss the time and I'll work it out for you, okay? Because you got special access. I'll help you. I'm not here to make things hard for anyone. Also, all you Everything Modern Oracle people, The Christmas thing we're going to be doing, you might want to wear some tinsel. It's a bit of a Christmas party. I've already written the games up and it's exciting. I'm excited. So I'm not going to tell you what they are. We'll surprise them, but the email's gone out with the dates. So and I want to thank you all for being here. I hope you've enjoyed today.
Thank you.
And